You could be walking around right now feeling perfectly fine. Maybe a little tired, maybe your stomach feels a bit off after meals. And you're telling yourself it's just stress or getting older. But what if I told you that right at this moment, there's a silent killer lurking inside thousands of people who have absolutely no idea they're in danger? Pancreatic cancer is called the most lethal cancer for a reason. By the time most people realize something is seriously wrong, it's already spread. And here's what will shock you. The early warning signs have been there all along. They were just so subtle, so easily dismissed that people ignored them for months, sometimes years. Listen to me carefully. If you're over 45, if you have a family history of cancer, or if you've noticed even one of the symptoms I'm about to share with you today, you need to pay attention to every single word in this video. Because unlike other cancers that give you obvious signs, pancreatic cancer whispers before it screams. And those whispers? They're happening right now in your body. In the next 15 minutes, I'm going to reveal the 8 critical warning signs that most doctors won't catch until it's too late. And more importantly, I'll tell you exactly what to do if you recognize even one of them. Stay with me because this information could literally save your life or the life of someone you love. Pancreatic cancer doesn't play fair. It hides deep in your abdomen, behind your stomach, in an organ most people never think about until something goes catastrophically wrong. Your pancreas is only about 6 inches long, but it controls some of the most vital functions in your body, producing insulin to regulate blood sugar and creating enzymes that help you digest food. When cancer attacks this small but mighty organ, it does so quietly and aggressively. The 5-year survival rate is devastating, sitting at just around 9%. But here's what you need to understand: early detection changes everything. The problem is that early detection is rare because the symptoms are so easy to confuse with everyday ailments. That ends today. You're about to become aware of what your body is trying to tell you. Let me tell you why pancreatic cancer is so terrifying. Every year, it claims the lives of nearly 50,000 Americans, and the numbers are rising. What makes this cancer particularly cruel is its location and behavior. Your pancreas sits deep in your abdomen, tucked behind other organs, which means tumors can grow undetected for months or even years before causing noticeable problems. There are no routine screening tests for pancreatic cancer like there are for breast cancer or colon cancer. No simple blood test. No quick scan you can get at your annual checkup. By the time symptoms become severe enough for someone to see a doctor, the cancer has often already spread to the liver, lungs, or lymph nodes. And here's the part that makes me frustrated. Most people, and even some doctors, dismiss the early warning signs as nothing serious. You've been told that back pain is just from sitting too much. That weight loss is a good thing. That indigestion is from eating too fast. But the truth is, when these symptoms appear together, or when they persist despite lifestyle changes, your body is sending you an urgent message that something is very wrong inside. There's another cruel reality we need to address. Pancreatic cancer doesn't discriminate, but certain people are at much higher risk. If you're over 55, if you're a smoker or former smoker, if you have chronic pancreatitis, if you're obese, or if diabetes runs in your family, your risk increases dramatically. Family history matters enormously here. If a close relative had pancreatic cancer, your risk can be up to 3 times higher than the average person. Yet despite all this, most people have no idea what symptoms to watch for. They wait, they hope it goes away, and that delay costs lives. Now let me reveal something that will change how you think about your health forever. The reason pancreatic cancer symptoms are missed so often isn't just because they're subtle, it's because they mimic conditions that are incredibly common and usually harmless. Your brain has been trained to explain away these symptoms with convenient excuses. Feeling tired? Must be stress. Stomach hurting? Probably ate something bad. Back aching? Time to buy a new mattress. This is exactly what cancer wants you to think. Recent research published in medical journals has shown something remarkable and terrifying at the same time. Studies tracking patients who were eventually diagnosed with pancreatic cancer revealed that nearly 70% of them had visited their doctor multiple times in the year before diagnosis, complaining about vague symptoms, and were sent home with antacids, pain relievers, or told to reduce stress. The cancer was already there, already growing, but nobody connected the dots because each symptom alone seemed too ordinary to investigate further. Here's the hidden truth that every person over 45 needs to understand. Pancreatic cancer symptoms often appear in clusters. It's rarely just one thing. It's the combination that matters. It's when your back hurts and you're losing weight without trying, and your skin starts looking slightly yellow and your digestion is off. When you see multiple symptoms appearing together over weeks or months, that's when alarm bells should be ringing. But most people don't know to look for patterns. They treat each symptom as a separate, unrelated issue. And that's exactly how this cancer stays hidden until it's too late to treat effectively. The pancreas is also intimately connected to your digestive system and blood sugar regulation, which means when it's under attack, the ripple effects touch multiple systems in your body simultaneously. This is why the symptoms can seem so random and disconnected, but they're not. They're all pointing back to the same source. Now we get to what you came here for, the 8 symptoms that should immediately make you schedule a doctor's appointment. I'm going to explain each one, why it happens, and what makes it different from normal, everyday discomfort. Pay very close attention because recognizing even 2 or 3 of these could be the difference between catching this early and facing a stage 4 diagnosis. Symptom number 1. Persistent abdominal or back pain that doesn't go away. This isn't the kind of back pain you get from lifting something heavy or sleeping wrong. This is a deep gnawing ache that sits in your upper abdomen and radiates straight through to your back, almost like it's boring into your spine. It often gets worse after eating or when you lie flat, which is why many people with early pancreatic cancer find themselves sleeping in recliners or propped up on pillows. The pain happens because the growing tumor is pressing against nerves and surrounding organs. If you've had back pain for more than a few weeks that doesn't respond to usual treatments, and especially if it's accompanied by any other symptom on this list, do not ignore it. Symptom number 2. Unexplained weight loss. I'm not talking about losing a few pounds because you're watching what you eat. I'm talking about losing 10, 15, even 20 pounds without trying, without dieting, without increasing your exercise. This happens because pancreatic cancer interferes with digestion. Your body can't properly break down and absorb nutrients from food, so you're essentially starving even though you're eating. Additionally, cancer cells consume a massive amount of energy, which accelerates weight loss. If your clothes are suddenly hanging off you and you haven't changed your eating habits, that's a major red flag. Symptom number 3. Jaundice, or yellowing of the skin and eyes. This is one of the more obvious symptoms, but it often appears later in the disease progression. Jaundice happens when a tumor in the head of the pancreas blocks the bile duct, causing bile to build up in your bloodstream instead of flowing into your intestines. The result is a yellowish tint to your skin and the whites of your eyes, along with dark urine that looks like tea or cola and pale, clay-colored stools. If you see any yellowing, you need to see a doctor immediately, not next week, not when you have time, immediately. Symptom number 4. New onset diabetes or sudden difficulty controlling existing diabetes. Here's something that shocks most people. Sometimes pancreatic cancer announces itself through blood sugar problems. The pancreas produces insulin, so when a tumor interferes with that function, you might suddenly develop diabetes seemingly out of nowhere, especially if you're over 50 and have no other risk factors. Or if you've had diabetes for years and it was well controlled, you might suddenly find your blood sugar is all over the place, despite not changing your medication or diet. Research suggests that new onset diabetes in people over 50 could be an early warning sign of pancreatic cancer in about 1% of cases, which sounds small but is actually significant when you consider how many people develop diabetes. Symptom number 5. Digestive problems that won't quit. We're talking about persistent nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, or feeling full after eating just a small amount of food. This happens because the tumor can block part of your digestive tract or interfere with enzyme production. Many people describe feeling like food is just sitting in their stomach, not moving through properly. You might also notice that fatty foods make you feel particularly sick. If you've gone from having a normal appetite to barely being able to finish a meal, and this lasts for more than a couple of weeks, pay attention. Symptom number 6. Changes in your stool that persist. This is uncomfortable to talk about, but it's critical. Pancreatic cancer can cause your stools to become pale, greasy, and foul-smelling, what doctors call steatorrhea. This happens because your pancreas isn't producing enough enzymes to break down fats, so they pass through your system undigested. Your stool might float, be difficult to flush, and have an unusually strong odor. This is different from occasional digestive upset. This is a consistent change that doesn't go away. Symptom number 7. Sudden loss of appetite or food aversions. You used to love eating, and now the thought of food makes you feel sick. Or you start eating and within a few bites, you feel completely full and nauseous. Cancer can release chemicals that affect your appetite center in your brain, and the physical pressure of a tumor can create early satiety. Combined with digestive enzyme problems, eating becomes increasingly unpleasant, which accelerates the weight loss I mentioned earlier. Symptom number 8. Blood clots without explanation. This one surprises people, but pancreatic cancer has a strong association with blood clots, particularly deep vein thrombosis in your legs or pulmonary embolism in your lungs. Cancer cells can release substances that make your blood more likely to clot. If you develop a blood clot and doctors can't find an obvious reason for it, you haven't been on a long flight. You're not on birth control, you haven't had surgery. Pancreatic cancer should be on the list of things to investigate. Now that you know the warning signs, let me tell you the 3 critical mistakes people make that delay diagnosis and cost precious time. Mistake number 1. Waiting to see if symptoms go away on their own. This is where most people go wrong. They notice 1 or 2 symptoms, maybe the back pain or the indigestion, and they think, I'll give it a few weeks and see if it gets better. Weeks turn into months. Months turn into a year. And all that time the cancer is growing and spreading. When it comes to pancreatic cancer, time is everything. Early-stage pancreatic cancer is often curable with surgery. Late-stage pancreatic cancer is almost never curable. The difference between those 2 scenarios can literally be a matter of months. If you have persistent symptoms, and by persistent I mean lasting more than 2 to 3 weeks, you need to be evaluated. Don't wait. Don't hope it goes away. Act. Mistake number 2. Accepting surface-level explanations without further investigation. Your doctor gives you antacids for your stomach pain, and you take them, and maybe they help a little, so you assume the problem is solved. But the symptoms keep coming back. Or you're told your back pain is muscular, so you go to physical therapy, but it doesn't help. Here's what you need to do. If initial treatment doesn't resolve your symptoms completely, you need to advocate for yourself. Ask for imaging. Ask about cancer screening. Specifically mention pancreatic cancer if you have risk factors. Doctors are busy, and they often go with the most common explanation first. But you know your body better than anyone, and if something doesn't feel right, you have every right to push for deeper investigation. Blood tests, CT scans, MRIs, endoscopic ultrasounds, these are the tools that can catch pancreatic cancer early. Mistake number 3. Ignoring family history and personal risk factors. If pancreatic cancer runs in your family, if you have chronic pancreatitis, if you're a long-time smoker, or if you have certain genetic mutations like BRCA2, you are not an average risk person. You need enhanced surveillance. Talk to your doctor about whether you should be getting regular imaging or tumor marker blood tests. Don't assume that just because you feel fine, everything is fine. High-risk individuals need to be proactive, not reactive. Waiting for symptoms when you already have multiple risk factors is gambling with your life. Let's bring this all together because I want you to walk away from this video with a clear action plan. Pancreatic cancer is one of the deadliest cancers we face, but it doesn't have to be a death sentence if you catch it early. The 8 symptoms I've shared with you today: persistent abdominal or back pain, unexplained weight loss, jaundice, new diabetes or blood sugar problems, digestive issues, stool changes, loss of appetite, and unexplained blood clots, these are your body's alarm system. When you see them, especially in combination, you cannot afford to ignore them. Here's my final bonus tip, and this is something that could save your life, even if you never develop pancreatic cancer. Create a symptom journal. Write down any persistent health changes you notice, when they started, how often they happen, what makes them better or worse. When you go to your doctor, bring this journal with you. Doctors are trained to look for patterns, and when you present organized information that shows a cluster of symptoms over time, it's much harder for them to dismiss it as nothing. This simple practice makes you an active participant in your healthcare instead of a passive recipient. If you're watching this and you recognize yourself in these symptoms, I want you to make a promise to yourself right now. Call your doctor tomorrow. Not next week. Tomorrow. Tell them exactly what you're experiencing. Ask for imaging. Mention pancreatic cancer by name. You are not being dramatic. You are not overreacting. You are advocating for your health, and that is exactly what you should be doing. And if you have loved ones over 50, especially if they have risk factors, share this video with them. Knowledge is power, and awareness can mean the difference between catching this disease when it is still treatable and catching it too late. The statistics for pancreatic cancer are grim, but they don't have to be your story if you act on what you now know. I want to hear from you in the comments. Have you or someone you know experienced any of these symptoms? What made you finally seek medical help? Your story could be the push someone else needs to take action. And if this video gave you valuable information, Hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss future videos about protecting your health. Remember, your body talks to you every single day. The question is, are you listening? Don't let the whispers of pancreatic cancer go unheard until they become screams. Pay attention. Take action. And above all, trust yourself enough to demand answers when something doesn't feel right. Your life is worth fighting for.